throwing shit at the pilot. Niggas be broken, be sobbing, but still talking shit like they violent. Niggas is broke.
So recently, I have been hearing a lot of news about players resting and the league not liking it. Now, honestly, this hasn't been a problem in the NBA ever since lately. Players have been doing this, teams have been doing this for years now. Popovich has been notorious for doing this, but it seems like it's a bigger deal this year, and I want to explore why. And to me, it simply comes down to this: we are the reason these players are resting. At the end of the day, we are the reason why LeBron James is not playing every game. We are the reason why Curry, Clay, Dre, these guys are resting when they're fully healthy. We are the reason why Popovich has been doing this for years now. And you might be asking, how is it my fault? How? As NBA fans, we put so much value on an NBA championship. Maybe too much, okay? You have guys like Carmelo, you have guys like Karl Malone, you have guys like Charles Barkley who play every day, who play in the FIBA games, who play in the Olympics, but yet all we do is trash on them. Why? Because they don't have a ring. LeBron James, he was playing in all the Olympics in high school, his rookie year, you know what I mean? He was playing in the FIBA games. He's been carrying the whole city of Cleveland ever since his rookie year. He brought prosperity to Miami his first year there. Yeah, all we did was trash on the man because he didn't have a ring, okay? We put so much pressure on these guys that if they don't get a ring, they're a flop, they're a bust, they're overrated. And of course, as a player, your goal is to be the greatest player that you can possibly be to the eyes of the people. When you hang up your jersey, you want people to recognize you as one of the greatest of all time. And apparently, that's just how NBA fans are. If you want to be recognized as one of the greatest players of all time, you have to have rings. So when LeBron's taking these breaks from the season, when LeBron's sitting out these nationally televised games, he's thinking about the long run. All right, I'll sit 5-6 games in the regular season, but at least when the playoffs come, I'm gonna be fully healthy. Because at this point in his career, it's literally a ring or bust for LeBron James. Every finals loss is a stain on his resume. Every finals loss is another reason for the haters to hate on him. And all he's doing is trying to erase all the possibilities of haters trying to hate on him. Because he's done everything in his power. Everything in his power to be the greatest possible player he can be. But the only reason people aren't recognizing it is because he doesn't have the rings. He's gonna pass MJ in almost every statistical category. He's a better all-around player. He's carried his team to the finals with nothing. He's carried his team against great teams with nothing in the finals. Never lost a first-round matchup. 7 finals appearances in a row. I believe 6, but it looks like it's going to be 7 this year. But yet, guys like Skip Bayless, guys like that are saying MJ is better just for the fact that he went 6 for 6. So if I'm LeBron, am I risking all that scrutiny? Am I risking my health? Am I risking my resume for 5 to 6 nationally televised games a year? I don't think so. It's just, to me, we put so much pressure on these guys to perform in the playoffs that it's just, they have to rest. Because if they don't, and if they don't perform the par, and if they're injured, what are we going to say? They choked. They're trash. They're overrated. And no one wants to hear that. Not even the coach. No one wants to hear their players being called overrated by the fans. That's why the Warriors weren't really resting until this year. Because before this year, no one was really calling them overrated. No one was really hating on them. They were the prized possession of the NBA. They were breaking all the records. Everyone loved Curry. But then once the playoffs came, once they blew that 3-1 lead, once they got KD, all the scrutiny started coming. And we all know now, with KD on that team, with all the scrutiny that they're receiving, it's ring or nothing. It really is ring or nothing. So if I'm the Warriors, am I risking the scrutiny of a couple fans? And I know it hurts. And I know it does. It's really annoying that people are spending $1,000 on these tickets to see the Warriors play, to see Steph Curry play, to see Draymond Green play. But then when they come, they're not there. They're not playing. They're on the bench. It really is annoying. But this is what we've created as a society. It really is. Like, If the Warriors don't win this year, what are we gonna say? KD's a failure. KD is a bust. Steph Curry is overrated. And this is just proof of it. So if I'm the Warriors, I'm trying to stay healthy. I'm trying to be the best I can be in the playoffs. And resting is just another method of doing that. The Spurs have been woke for years. They know it's all about the rings. They know no one cares about the regular season. It's all about the rings. That's why he's been resting Tim Duncan for years. That's why he's been resting his stars. And that's why they've been so consistent and so sustainable. Is because they're always fresh. Is because they save all their energy for the playoffs. And what has that gotten the Spurs? 5 championships. 5 out of 6 for Tim Duncan. And now he's considered one of the greatest, if not the greatest power forward of all time. Actually, scratch that. He is the greatest power forward of all time. And that's because of Greg Popovich's great time management. And that's because he knows it's all about the rings. No one cares about the regular season. No one does. Dwight Howard, 3 Defensive Player of the Years. Been an MVP candidate basically his whole life in his Orlando time period, right? Before he came to LA. But now, we don't even know if he's going to make the Hall of Fame because he doesn't have a ring. We don't even know. He might have put in all the work that he could. He might have performed to the best of his abilities and was playing at an all-time level in his prime. He was getting all the accolades. He was putting up historic numbers, but he might not even make the Hall of Fame because he never won a ring. He never won a ring, all right? Carmelo Anthony, you're telling me right now if Carmelo won even 1 ring, he wouldn't be a Hall of Famer? First ballot? Of course, Carmelo Anthony would be a first ballot Hall of Famer. We put too much emphasis on getting a ring that we undermine what these players do. Chris Paul, no ring. He's done everything to his power to carry the Clippers to where they are right now. The Clippers are not where they are right now. The Clippers are not what they are for the past 4 or 5 years. If it wasn't for Chris Paul, nada. They'd be the Nets right now without Chris Paul. Okay, maybe not that bad, but they're not contending for a title every year. Of course, they have failed every year, but they're not contending for one every year if it isn't for Chris Paul. But yet everyone overlooks him because he has no ring, and that's just my thing, man. So at the end of it all, I don't mind players resting. I really don't, because I know what they're thinking. I know that they're thinking about that championship at the end. You know what I mean? They're not caring about the regular season because we don't care about the regular season. Why should they? Why should they? They're playing back-to-backs, nationally televised games, 82-game season. Yes, I know the old dudes have been playing this schedule for years, but they didn't have this much pressure back then. They really didn't. They would play a game and be like, okay, we lost. You know what I mean? They'd lose in the finals and be like, all right, we'll get them back next year. But in this society today, one finals loss automatically disqualifies you from the greatest of all time discussion just because it's not MJ. And that's the truth. And that's the truth. No one will ever compare to MJ to the eyes of the majority of society if a player does not go 6 for 6 or more. You literally have to be perfect to surpass MJ. And because MJ didn't have the media back then like LeBron has today, his flaws are overlooked. But with the media today, every flaw of LeBron, every flaw of Curry, every flaw of Westbrook is in a microscope. And all these players are trying to do is broaden the scale out so that they won't be looked at in a microscope. So that you can say that, yeah, I wasn't the perfect player. Yeah, I had my doubts. Yeah, I had my weaknesses. But I won a ring though. That's all this is, man. It's our fault. I'm not gonna lie. It really is our fault. But I really don't have a solution, man. I guess you can extend the season, get rid of I'm telling you right now, if I'm the commissioner, if I'm the boss, honestly, I'd get rid of back-to-backs altogether. Because if you see in the NFL, yes, they don't have that many games, but the quality of each game is so worth it, all right? And yes, there's going to be a problem with historic numbers, but I feel like, again, that's going to balance out if these players are playing 5 years longer. You know what I mean? So if we reduce the 82 game schedule to 65, get rid of the back-to-backs, spread out the schedule, make each game count even more, I think we're going to get a better product in the NBA. But that's not what the NBA is thinking. They're thinking about the money. They're thinking about the business aspect. They're thinking about the relationships with the ABCs and the TNTs. That's what they're thinking. Because they're a business at the end of the day. They're an association. They're a business. It's not as simple as we make it out to be. But with that being said, man, I hope you all enjoyed this freestyle video. I'm just trying stuff out, man. I wanted to get this off my chest. I didn't want to come up with a script or anything. It's just off the dome. But with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I am out. Peace.